Hi everyone! So today we wanted to have a chat with you guys about the topic Make It Happen. And if you like the background of this video, it's going to be a thumbnail for Dolly Diaries Sweet Shop themed. Please ignore some of the dolls that have collapsed in the background. And I actually have a post like this, similar to it, on Flickr called Be Your Own Hero. And it's one of my favorite things that I've written on there, but this is going to be kind of similar but also expand more in kind of a slightly different direction.
Well, a lot of people seem to think that our doll collection was like materialized overnight. They'll be like, oh, you're so lucky, how do you have so many? But the thing is, the dolls didn't magically come here overnight. We had to like work to make them happen. And I think that applies to life too. Like, you know, you can look at what someone has, but a lot of the time they worked for it, and if you put in the same amount of effort, you can have it too. Like, we film a lot of our treasure hunts, but the reality is there are plenty of weeks where we go and we don't come home with much or anything. And I think that our doll collection was made out of time, because we've been into dolls since, like, I've had my first Barbie since she was like 6 months old. She's 27.
The math of how long we took a break from dolls and how old we were when we got our first, it's like literally about 20 years.
20 years of collecting dolls, so time, and then just pounding the pavement, and then pounding like the online pavement, like looking for sales, looking at eBay listings, like scrolling through for like something within your price range. And there's all the work we put into cleaning them up and
identifying.
Yes, and all that time we spend like identifying them. I mean, there is some luck involved. Like when we got Talking PJ, like a week or so later, we magically found her outfit at our local flea market. But yes, there was some luck in that, but also we were pounding pavement. We had to go upstairs.
What her outfit looks like.
We had to know what the outfit looked like. We had to go upstairs and like a special part of the flea market to get PJ. Like, so there was a lot of work just in that. Even though yes, there was some luck, there was work as well. And I think that,
and even just from a standpoint of like having the money to spend on things, I noticed that it's so common on YouTube, and like this isn't just said about me, it's said on like anyone who has a YouTube channel that has any kind of following, big or small, that people watch and you'll have like, you know, just a normal house or a normal apartment or maybe something nice, and people are like, you're rich, you're rich, you're rich. And I noticed especially on like all of those assumptions videos that YouTubers are making lately, that hands down in like every video it's, you know, oh, you're rich. And I think the reason for that is number one.
People look at like through like rose-colored glasses.
The grass,
like what other people have.
The grass is always greener, so you're seeing someone's life through the screen, and you automatically think it's more glamorous than it is because you're seeing a little.
Right, like we got so many compliments on our house after the house tour, but the reality is that a lot of like our wall paint is over like areas that had to have wallpaper removed, so the drywall's damaged, or some of the paint is over paneling.
Yeah,
in the living
anytime
room.
some kind of handyman is over to like fix something, it's always that doesn't look good.
And then like both our bathrooms have like only partial function, so it's like we shower in one but use the toilet in the other.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot
only
of
one
problems,
sink
a lot of quirks, and I think the other reason people tend to do that, besides like just putting you on a pedestal because you're online, is also because on YouTube there are select few people who make a lot of money, and they're kind of like the celebrities of YouTube, and people just kind of assume whether or not your channel's monetized that you're just like making bank off of it, and it's just like an automatic thing that guarantees that you have money. And the truth of the matter is that you can have nice things and not have a lot of money because your financial circumstance changes. I mean, growing up, we were like, I would say we were pretty much always in some realm of middle class, whether it was slightly lower middle class or slightly, you know, upper middle class. Not really upper middle class, but you know, we had a little bit more, a little bit less money depending on our parents' finances and things. You know, we were lucky we didn't go without food or without clothes or without a roof over our head, and our parents paid the bills on time, and we got birthday gifts and things. Obviously we were luckier than other people, and that isn't to say that parents who didn't have as much to provide for their kids didn't work as hard. That's not true at all. it's just unfortunately the way life is that people aren't.
And I think that's part of it is you have to be grateful for what you have because there's always someone with more and there's always someone with less.
And I don't like the comparison of when you have a problem and someone tells you, well, I've had it worse, or when they tell you, oh, someone else has it way worse, or when you just feel sorry for yourself and you can't like just accept that you have good things in your life too. I think it's balanced. Like it's okay to feel jealous sometimes, or to feel upset, or to feel like bitter and resentful. It's a human emotion, and there's a reason we have negative emotions. But the problem is when you dwell on that, and it creates this victim mindset. And I see that all the time in YouTube comments and stuff, even on my own videos, and not like when someone goes to one of our haul videos and they kind of playfully comment, oh, you're so lucky to have found all that stuff. It's more so like on the collection videos, people will be like, you're so lucky, boo-hoo, I only have 2 dolls, and they'll put all like the sad face emojis. And you're so rich, you're so lucky your parents bought you all those dolls. Someone said that on my Monster High video, and I was kind of like irritated because it's like both my parents were dead when I got all those
Before we
dolls.
even started buying.
So, you know, it's kind of like, obviously people work hard for their money, and you don't have to have a lot of money to have nice things, and there's work that goes into it. Like Colleen and I, we are not rich, we are actually very broke. You know, we don't have like credit cards or any like debt like that, but we pay a mortgage on our house, and we have expensive property taxes, and we have things that are always falling apart, and we both work a lot. I work every day of the week, but my schedule is more flexible, and Colleen works, she's gone for 12 hours on weekdays and then has to do weekend stuff. You know, we work really hard for our money, and it's disheartening when people act like they can't have it when it's like, well, you can make it happen for yourself.
Exactly. It's fully obtainable. Like, if you want to start collecting something instead of being jealous of someone else's collection, you know, just like go out and start looking. I mean, I can't guarantee that the minute you start looking you're going to be lucky, but that's the thing, you have to pound the pavement.
And you might not like be in an area where secondhand shopping is available as readily. I mean, we live in the middle of nowhere, so we have to drive pretty far to get to like just anywhere really. But I know it's like for some people it's just not in the question of where they live, or I know a lot of people who live in other countries, eBay is way more expensive for them, so it's not as easy to online shop for secondhand things. Like, I totally understand that.
No, and I mean, I've
also a lot of people like to say, oh, you know, you people in the US, you pay way less for dolls because like in Australia or in the United Kingdom your dollar is worth more. So you're thinking of it in terms of like your money, not looking at it, well, our American dollar is worth less. It's like us Americans can go to Mexico and we can buy a lot of stuff because our money is worth so much more than theirs. So it seems like everything's cheap, but to the people who live in Mexico,
it's not.
It's
even
not.
different parts of the U.S. I mean, a friend of mine, her family moved down to South Carolina, and she told me that it was like a lot cheaper at the time down there. But then
their jobs, they get paid less.
Exactly. So it all
everything's relative. It's like when we made the house tour, there were people who were saying how big our house is, and like for 2 people it is big.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
there were 5 of us living here at some point. That's why the basement had to be like made over. And also like in New England, everyone has a basement. Like it's like unheard of to not have a basement. And where we live, because of like all the developments going in like the forest area, they live in like $500,000 homes that are like 2 stories, 2 garages. Then they'll all put additions on their house, and then they all move out in a few years because they don't know how to afford it anymore. And, you know, like it's like houses pretty much our size. And obviously like in the United Kingdom, it's a lot more crowded there because people have been living there a lot longer, so they have to live in much smaller places. So obviously this would seem huge. It's all relative, and you have to keep that in mind too, instead of like comparing yourself to other people. And I think that that's one of the things about like making it happen for yourself. When you get really hung up on being jealous of other people or comparing what you don't have to other people, you're going to be miserable. Like, it's really hard when we go to like weddings or things to see people with their parents, because we'll never have that. Like, the idea of like getting married, like, and having a wedding never appealed to me, not like getting married itself, because I'm not that kind of person. But then like the thought of, well, I wouldn't have a mom to have a bridal shower for me, and I wouldn't have a dad to do a dance. Like, it's really sad. It makes you sad. But you can't like stay hung up on that stuff in life. I have to appreciate like
Right.
I have an awesome sister and I'm so lucky to have her, and we can kind of create this like dysfunction that we live in. It's
Yeah, like exactly. Like I mean, it's just the two of us in this house that is large for two people, and we can pretty much do whatever we want here because it's just us.
And you can, I think one of the things I love about secondhand shopping is that you have the ability to make something that someone else didn't want beautiful. And you have to do that with your own life, and you have to make it happen for yourself. And life is always going to give you opportunities or take opportunities away from you. Like if you get a job, someone else didn't get that job. And likewise, when you miss out on something, someone else got it. It's not always fair, and I think that there's, unfortunately, and I've been like this before too, where you feel entitled that the world owes you something, that other people owe you something, and at the end of the day, your life is your responsibility. Even like separated from your family, your mental health, your life, your happiness, the decisions you make, what you want to do with your future, it all falls on you. And I know, like as someone who suffered with depression and being really anxious and like having intrusive like compulsive thoughts my whole life, like I don't remember a time when that wasn't a thing. It made me feel helpless, and there was a point in my life where I kind of just like gave up and wanted someone else to come in and rescue me. And after like Dad passed away, I didn't think that I could do it without him. Like, how are we going to take care of this house? How are we going to get by? And like now I look back and I see it's been 7 years almost next month since he passed away, and it's like, holy crap, we did it. And even though we're still struggling and we're still figuring things out, like we made it happen. We like got off our butts and
Yeah, I mean, I always thought that we'd be lucky to make it like 4 years on our own.
Right. And I mean, at this point, like especially the past year, we had to take a lot of chances in like our personal lives with things, and I realized that that's what life's about, that you kind of have to take risks, and those risks aren't always going to go your way, and that life is kind of all a gamble. It's like a big, poker game that you have your cards and you put them down and you hope that those are the right cards, and you're not always going to have that. You can go to the flea market and have 3 weeks of really good luck and get tons of dolls, and then the next 2 months you get nothing, and you've wasted that time and that money and the gas on going. That's how it is. And if you want to be a better like doll restorer or a better at doll identification, you have to put the work into those skills. Like, I'm not a magical guru. I wasn't born with knowledge about dolls or like the ability to be good at doing all things doll restoration. You guys are seeing a much more refined version of the way we collect. If you were to have even seen us back in like 2012 when we had been collecting again for a year, it would have been way different. Our doll's hair would have looked a lot worse. We would have, like, my earrings that I made for my dolls would have been a lot crappier made. We would have had a lot of misidentified dolls because it was years and years of working on those skills. Like, I didn't just upload pictures of my dolls and ask other people to identify them for me. And I'm not saying like if you ask for help that that's a bad thing, but I think a lot of people expect others to help them, and like they think that if other people help them, they're somehow still going to obtain like that skill that they want or that life that they want, when it's like, but you have to do it yourself. Like, you're the one that has to sit there and draw every day to be better at drawing, or sit there and practice a foreign language to become fluent in it.
Or like, when I'm at work, a lot of kids complain about how I make them read and how they hate reading. And I always compare it to when I was, in 10th grade learning how to type for the first time. And because I'm like kind of getting old and not like, I wasn't one of those people that was born typing. So it was something I had to learn when I was a little bit older. And, I always tell the kids that I'm glad that someone made me do it despite the tears and the grade I didn't like and being the slowest in the class at the time, because now I type pretty fast and I'm happy with it.
Right, and I know for me, like, there were a lot of things just looking at doll collecting that I really struggled with. I had such a hard time learning to reroute, and like just trying to sew simple things on my sewing machine, especially my old one, which hated me. There would be so many tears and so many swears and so many like things I threw and projects I wanted to quit, but at the end of the day I kept doing it. And then when I look back at like some of the things that if I hadn't quit them, I could have been way better at them by now. Like, I started to sew when I was like 12, but because I lacked the confidence and because I would compare myself to people who were better, it made me discouraged and not keep going. So now I start at a very beginner level, but I'm happy that I'm at least doing it, and I know I'll never be like a master at it just because I'm just not really good at it, but I'm better than I was, and it's fun now. So it's like that with everything in life. If you want to have something, if you want to have a beautiful home, you want to have a system of supportive friends and family, you have to like work on those relationships and working on making your surroundings beautiful and work on learning to identify your dolls and working on cleaning your dolls yourself and all of those things, and also like making sacrifices to have the things you want, because nothing that's really worth having in life will come easily. It all takes some kind of effort. Like, you could say meet the love of your life tomorrow, but if you don't approach them and try to make it happen, it's not going to happen for you. The world can give you opportunities and you can get lucky, but if you don't do anything with it, then it's all in vain anyways, and you've wasted the opportunity. So we've gotten shortchanged a lot in life, but we've also been given really great opportunities, and we have really great people in our lives, but we had to work to maintain that stuff. And I think that it's kind of useless to be the victim and like to accept that role in life, like, oh, I've had it so hard, oh, so-and-so has it better than me. It's not going to get you anywhere. And I know firsthand because I was that person.
Me too.
I was that person for years, that I just felt sorry for me, and I would be like, woe is me. I was bitter, depressed, especially when I was like at my worst in high school. I was like the killjoy. They called me Debbie Downer at my lunch table, which is hard to believe because I know I seem so like happy and like put together in some ways on my channel, but it didn't happen overnight. Even like an attitude change, your mental health, it's something that you have to wake up every day and commit to, that like I am gonna try to be happy. Like last year was really hard for both of us. Like I had so many like emotional breakdowns, and I mean I was on the verge of just like falling apart every day, and I still got up and I still kept pardon my French here, I still kept my shit together enough to like function and get through the day, even if it was impossible.
Constantly insult the French.
I know, in real life, if I swear, I just like let her out with like 10 other swear words, but we're keeping it PG for the channel. But that's all we're really trying to say is like, I just want to motivate people who maybe are in that slump where they're going through something in life, they feel helpless, they want something. You have to take risks, and it's going to be scary. Even like being comfortable just in itself of being a doll collector and like being open about it, it takes courage. And like if you want to put yourself out there online and do it, it takes courage. You have to like be okay with not looking perfect on camera and people not liking you. It's just gonna happen. People aren't gonna like you, and that can be really hard to like, especially if you're like me and you don't want to offend anybody and you're overanalyzing everything. It can be really hard to accept that like people aren't gonna like you, or a video is not gonna be perfect, things like that. You have to just keep doing it. You have to make the first move and keep at it when you fail, and that's what's gonna make your life great. That's what's gonna give you a good doll collection. You might not ever have like 1 million dolls or have exactly what you want, but it'll be a lot better than just sitting there and feeling bad and like telling someone else basically bitterly that, oh, well, you're lucky, I'm not, because that's not going to help anybody. There's no sense in being angry at someone else for having something you want. Like, I try to feel happy for people when they have things that I want, instead of feeling bad about myself, like, oh, and you know, I feel bad that I don't have parents and so-and-so has great parents. Like, it's not gonna change my situation.
No, it's gonna waste time. It's just gonna waste time and energy.
Right, so instead, you know, we just accept what we have and we make do with what we have, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day. It's like, do it yourself, make it happen for yourself, and there's no guarantee you're gonna get exactly what you want, but it's worth a shot, because nothing is worse in life than when you don't do anything and you have to wake up one day and realize all these missed opportunities and all these things that you want to do. They always say that like there's a difference between having dreams and having goals. Dreams are this abstract construct that there's no real like steps that you take to make it happen. You just think, oh, it would be great if I woke up and I won the lottery and I could afford to do this and that and have this and that and make this and that happen. But goals are something that you put stages to and time frames on and you make it happen. Like, when we wanted to create 1,000 Splendid Dolls. This was all methodically planned.
In general, I'm more into dreams than goals.
I think that like I'm a realistic person, so I try to like I often am a dream killer of myself because if it's kind of unobtainable seeming, I tend to like talk myself out of it. But I think that it's just important to work towards things.
I'm not. I'm one of those people that I just think somehow that things will all.
Right, and I'm the opposite. So we kind of balance each other out because she gives me hope and I give her like a realistic expectation of like, Colin, you can't sit here and expect your book to be published if you're not actually writing it. And then she's like, well, Shirley, you can't beat yourself up and not post the things you worked on just because they're not up to your standard. So we have each other to kind of balance out. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.